Salutations, Clipper Nation. On this week of the Clip Service podcast, we are going to break down just a couple games from the past week. Unfortunately, the Clippers run into the scorching hot Cleveland Cavaliers and take a loss, but bounce back as they have been throughout the season in a big win against the Wizards. And we ended up taking the best shot from the Detroit Pistons, who played really, really well. Surprisingly, no shade, but they are the Pistons. But we took their best shot and ended up escaping Detroit with a win as well. Ivica Zubac is getting closer to coming back. A whole lot to talk about this week. So without further ado, let's make it happen.
What's up, Clipper Nation? And welcome to the Clip Service Podcast. Make sure to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music, YouTube, and also on Twitter and Instagram at Clip Service Pod. I'm Rolla, and this is Nick, and today we are joined with the great Connor Bell. Let's get right into it. Nick, take us away.
What's going on, everybody? Hopefully you guys have had a fantastic week. I know that we have. Things are still going pretty swimmingly with our favorite team. The Clippers have been playing about as good as they can be, despite some tough play against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This team's been bouncing back, and we've continued to find a way to kind of remedy the things that we needed to work on in the losses and come back strong in the wins. So that's been great to see. Like Rolla said, this is the Clip Service Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got a lot to break down. So let's just jump right into the first segment. What's going on? Connor Bell, you want to take us away?
Absolutely. I'll take it away with the favorite segment, the best segment, in my opinion. But what's going on with the league? I know the biggest thing right now is the trade deadline coming up February 8th. It is February 4th today. So only a few days away, with a lot of rumors spreading this week.
Feels like Christmas.
Yeah. It's really caught me by surprise. Honestly. I mean, like,
yeah.
but it's, I don't know. I thought it was going to be a really dry trade deadline, to be honest. But then I'm surprised.
I feel like it has been dry.
Well, but here's the thing: is it's always the most activity happens, the day of in the morning, and I think a lot of teams are being kind of conservative with, the moves that they make. So I think that a lot of teams are making moves predicated on what else happens throughout the league, and I think it's kind of just a waiting game, like it always is.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, the last day is always going to be popping. But I don't think that there are going to be, and I think there's always going to be rumors, but I don't think there's going to be anything crazy this year or this.
I disagree. I think it's going to be the biggest trade deadline we've had in a minute.
Nick,
okay, wait.
Sources.
I'm locked in.
All right, Nick, let's hear it. What's your biggest rumor that you have that you think?
My biggest rumor I'm gonna save until hot take, shot take later on in the show.
Ooh.
But I've heard a lot of moving pieces are expected to be moved. I think that there's teams that are kind of gonna be big sellers in the deadline. I think the Washington Wizards. I don't really think anybody on that team is safe. I think that the Jordan Poole experiment, it's still early, but I think that it's gone extremely poorly. I don't think that him and Kyle Kuzma make up a serious level of, winning basketball. I think that they're getting ready to sell. I think the Bulls are teetering right on the edge of blowing it all up. And particularly with this Zach LaVine news that he's going to be out for the season with a surgery on his ankle or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that they're about ready to blow it up. There's a lot of teams, Charlotte, there's teams that need to do something. And with how good that the OKC Thunder has been after going through their short rebuild or whatever you want to call it, retooling, I think it sets an example to a lot of teams that are just not there yet. Just to let to show those teams that, hey, you make the right moves, you collect assets, and you can. The Thunder, I believe, as it stands right now, are the number one seed in the West, or they're tied for it at least. So, I think that Sam Presti is setting an example to a lot of teams in that same tier throughout the league. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a jam-packed trade deadline. I think a lot of teams are looking to buy. I think there's a lot of teams that are right there. The Suns, I think are close. They lack depth. I've heard Miles Bridges is someone that they're looking into.
Yep.
But there's a lot of teams that are kind of just right there. And, kind of with what we're seeing with the Clippers, you make a big move and it can pay dividends, over and over again. We trade for Harden, and it started out kind of shoddy, but we're playing like the best team in the league right now. And, those are the moves that I'm sure a lot of other teams around the league are looking at and thinking, okay, maybe we got to go all in on somebody and try and compete, because the West and the East, I think, are pretty wide open this season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with mostly everything you said. I just don't. Mostly, but I just don't think that there are going to be any massive moves. I think that like you mentioned, the Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma experiment. I mean, those are two guys that are not. They're not stars in this league, unfortunately. Kyle Kuzma is a great player, and Jordan Poole is a great player. Like, they both have amazing talent, but they're not the types that you want to be leading your team. I think Jordan Poole honestly should go back to the Warriors. They need someone like him who actually can score, unlike someone like Klay Thompson. But we can get into that another time. But overall, I think the trade deadline is going to be. It's going to be one of those. I personally think it's going to be one of those days where there's going to be a lot of rumors going on. There's going to be a lot of expectations, and I feel like a lot of teams aren't willing to move their big players. But you never know. I'm not Adrian Wojnarowski, so we'll all find out at the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We will. I honestly agree with both of you. I think it will be a big trade deadline. I think for top teams, obviously, pushing for playoff contention and trying to, win it all. And I think somebody like Miles Bridges could easily go to the Suns. Maybe not big.
But the Suns are so dumb for that, dude.
I know, but I think of
The
it
Suns
like
are dumb for that.
But even like a Kuzma trade, I do agree.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a true all-star level. Like, it's going to change, the whole game and the whole team. But it will be a piece that can contribute towards like a team like making it, to the finals.
Sorry to cut you off, Connor.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but really quick, I kind of wanted to continue on that Suns thing, because it just popped in my head. The other day I was thinking, why would the Suns trade for Miles Bridges when the reason they lost last year was because they were so top heavy? If they keep all three of their big three, and they add Miles Bridges, they're basically gonna have freaking janitors as their like subs. like they're gonna have no one.
Why is any team trading for Miles Bridges? I'm sorry. Why is anybody trading for that dude? Should not be fucking playing professional basketball.
The thing is, dude, Nick, is it's still a business. They're still owners. They still want to make money, so that's why they don't care. Like, we know this. We know that professional leagues don't care about women, and that's just how it is. It's unfortunate.
Unfortunately,
that's just how they don't. They're just rich people who all they care about is money. And at the end of the day, like, if Miles Bridges isn't in jail, he can play basketball. That's how they see it.
It's a fucking shame.
Yeah, I know. It's actually really sad.
And that's a topic for another day, I feel like. But
yeah, sorry.
That's a topic for every day.
For every day. That's true. That's fair. But was there any big other rumors in terms of the trade deadline that we didn't cover?
I mean, there's always rumors. The Lakers, obviously all throughout Twitter every day, as the trade deadline comes closer, you hear a new rumor about the Lakers being interested in somebody.
Yeah.
I have something of that, in that category that I'm going to save for hot take, shot take. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I know that they're being talked about as suitors for DeJounte Murray.
Yep.
I know that Zach LaVine kind of always comes up in conversation with them, but I'm actually of the belief if Zach LaVine does get traded, I believe he's going to be a Detroit Piston. I don't know. I think with the Lakers, the Lakers have the assets, in Austin Reeves and Rui, and they don't have a ton of draft capital, but they have players that they can trade. My thing with the Lakers is their front office seems to be pretty stingy in terms of making the moves to move on from some of their young guys when their value is the highest. I mean, you saw it with THT. They didn't want to move on from THT. They could have had Kyle Lowry, I think 2 years ago. They ended up keeping him just to trade him away a year later. So, I mean, I think if they're willing to part with a guy like Austin Reeves or Rui or, Vanderbilt, who's unfortunately might be out for the season, but, any of their, attractive picks, if they're willing to part with those guys, then then maybe they can get a deal done for DeJounte Murray. I just don't see it happening based on past history, I guess. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. The deadline's coming up in a couple days, so all of that remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think February 8th is going to be a crazy day, and we'll have a lot to talk about that next episode. So we'll have more to say about all the trades happening and if the rumors came true or not. But going into the next topic of what's going on is Embiid, and the MVP kind of candidacy and what it all entails and his injury that recently happened and, if he's going to be out the rest of the season. And,
torn meniscus, I think.
Yeah, torn meniscus, kind of being pushed to play. What do you guys think about all that and all the media attention that was on Embiid during that game?
I think I think it's a double-edged sword. Just the discussion of whether players should have a minimum amount of games that they can play or a maximum amount of games that they've missed to be eligible for MVP or all these awards, Defensive Player of the Year. I saw something on Twitter that said that I think Zubac, just based on the amount of games that he's missed recently, there's only a couple more games left before he's ineligible for Defensive Player of the Year or a all defensive team, which he's been playing close to that level this season. He's been a phenomenal rim protector. So, I mean, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. I think that you can't have your cake and eat it too, because you see a lot of people talk on Twitter about, we need to see these guys play more games. Load management is killing the league. And then the NBA comes out with a rule like this to incentivize players to play. I mean, all the people that we're talking about, the Clippers resting guys all the time. I mean, 2-1-3, Kawhi and PG, they've played more games together than they have their entire tenure with the Clippers this season, and they're playing. They're playing through little knocks, and they'll get banged up, and a lot of the time they'll play through it. But yeah, you can't complain about players not playing games, and then when players sit or something like that, or when they actually get hurt. I don't know. It's a polarizing topic, and personally, I think that if a player's hurt, they shouldn't be playing. And I think a lot of people are very quick to throw out the load management thing. I think there's a lot of players that play through injuries that we don't see. And when you see a player load manage, a lot of the time they are dealing with an injury that could possibly put their career in jeopardy. So I don't know. It's a topic that I don't really like to get into because there's such strong opinions on both sides.
Totally. I have a hot take about that topic as well later. But roll
Let's hear it. Oh, later. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel very strong. I'll talk. I have two things I want to say, and I feel very strongly about this.
Rolla feeling strongly about something? No.
Yeah, no. This is like it's an actual topic that's I don't want to say serious, but I feel like a lot of people misunderstand the situation of what's going on. Um, and the Embiid thing, like Embiid is actually hurt. You know, he has a torn meniscus. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season. And the expectation is for him to come back, play in the playoffs, right? And Embiid is an MVP caliber player. He is the reigning MVP, so we expect greatness from him every night. The other night, last 2 weeks ago, I guess it was a couple games before he ended up tearing his meniscus, and he technically tore his well, I don't know exactly what happened, but it seemed like he tore his meniscus, or he was like officially hurt when Jonathan Kuminga fell on his knee in
Yeah.
Warriors Sixers game. But
Mm-hmm.
before that, I think either was the game before that or a couple games before that, or maybe this was last week. There was a game. It was the Nuggets Sixers. Embiid, 15 minutes before the game started, he chose. Well, I don't want to say he chose, but he sat out the game, and everyone on Twitter said, and he hasn't played. I think he hasn't played Jokic like a Nuggets Sixers matchup in like four games. Like he hasn't played Jokic in a minute. And people say that he is ducking Jokic because he's afraid of another center of his caliber, like afraid to go up against another center of his caliber. And I think that leads into this whole 65 game thing. These players make, like, for example, Kawhi and PG, they make like $50 million in a year, in 1 year. And they make in 1 year more than most people on this planet Earth will make in their lifetime, right? And so is it that crazy for us to ask for them to go to work every day when me, you, Connor have to go to work every day the same way, and they make $50 million, but Embiid can randomly on any night choose that he doesn't want to play? That is crazy to me. And for people to complain about that, for the players to complain that they have to work at their job that they get paid millions of dollars to do, is insane to me. And that's what pisses me off. For the NBA to put this, I guess, this rule together that they have to play 65 games to win these awards, to me, that's perfectly fine. That makes sense to me. 65 games, I feel like, is completely fair. These players, I watch First Take basically every morning. Like Stephen A was saying, prior year, and that's what pisses me off, because I don't really like to agree with like old heads on like how the league was back in the day. But back in the day, these players were playing 82 games, and like you mentioned, Nick, a lot of these players play through injuries, but that's part of the job, dude.
Yeah,
That's
but
part
also
of the
you look
job.
at, dude, look at
If you're banged up, if you have like if you have like sprains and little things like that, I'm sorry, play through it. You just got a direct deposit of $20 million into your bank account. Play the game, dude. Like, that's what pissed me off about Paul George last year in the playoffs. He hyperextended his knee, and he was out for what, like 5 weeks? Dude, I'm sorry. Kawhi was out there with a torn meniscus playing the game. Dude, play the game. At the end of the day, sure, the medical staff, the doctors say don't play, but at the end of the day, you are the superstar of the team. Your word is final. If you want to play, you can play the game, dude. And that's what pisses me off. These players see it as free money, which it is. Personally, I agree. If I was in that situation and I could just not work and get $1 million check into my bank the next morning, I would do the same thing. But at the end of the day, like, they got to do their job. I'm sorry, 65 games is not too much to ask from these players.
there we have it, guys. Holy cow, huh? Rolla, as you can see, Rolla feels some type of way about this. I will say, I do agree with some of it. You look at, I'm going to just make this quick, but you look at, some of the players that have played in the 90s and the 80s, like look at NBA on TNT or whatever with Chuck and Shaq and Kenny. Those dudes can barely move, bro. Dirk Nowitzki has talked about how he can't even play ball with his kids because he can't move the way that he needs to, like a normal human being. And you know, you get that from playing through injuries. And
Dude,
yeah, it
Nick,
makes
that's
for,
part of the job, dude. That's part of the job. It's like their families and their kids are set for life because they made that sacrifice.
Yeah.
If someone told me like, yo, dude, like you could make $50 million in a year, but when you're 70, when you're 60 plus, you're gonna have a hard time walking. I'm gonna take that, dude. I'm really gonna take that. And my mom is gonna be set for life. My dad's gonna be set for life. My kids are gonna be set for life. My grandkids are gonna be set for life.
Yeah.
It's
Bro, it's
definitely
part of the job, dude. Do your job. Everyone has to work. Everyone has to work. Do your job. That's
Hey,
all I'm
we
saying.
have sick days too, you know. We can take time off, but
Yeah,
no,
take
That's true. What about that PTO, huh?
yeah, no. But in all
Yeah,
seriousness,
dude,
no.
my
I
bad,
think
bro.
there's I wouldn't even say positive. I think there's clarity in both of your guys' sides of it, because it's trying to take into consideration like how much they actually get in earnings, to literally play basketball versus their longevity and health. I think is equally as important, and also with their contracts, and in management with their prospective teams. Like I think even teams have more say than the players do, and in a lot of ways, I think that's pretty accurate. Especially since we've been able to see the effects of playing 82 games and playing through injuries and what that does to people. Because, then we get injuries leading into our next talk. Zach LaVine, opting into a season ending injury after all the BS that I think he went through this year and not wanting to play and then
Mhm.
getting injured and then now he's out. But what do you guys think about that? Zach LaVine being out now.
Well, Zach LaVine is a fantastic player. I think he's very underrated in the league. But I saw this. Well, one, the Bulls are kind of they're to me they're finished. I think that a lot of pieces are going to be moved either at this trade deadline or at the end, or I guess at the end of the season. But they were saying that Zach LaVine heard rumors that he was going to go to Detroit and decided to opt into the season-ending surgery so he wouldn't be traded to that team. But overall, I mean, I probably would do it just because I mean the Bulls aren't doing anything this season, anyways, and I mean if he were to be traded, it would probably be to a team that he wouldn't want to go to. So
I still think he gets traded. I
really,
still think he gets traded. I think that his trade value is obviously going to be lower. And I think that teams are going to look at that, especially teams like I said, the Detroit Pistons. I think that he's a candidate for that team to be their go-to scorer. Detroit has they've been playing better than their record shows. They have a nice strong core with Ivy, Cunningham, and Duran. Sasser's been playing really well, but I think that they need kind of a guy that can consistently give you 25 to 30 points a night, a guy that's been in the league and knows how to score against every team in the league. And I think that he's a candidate to go over there. And I think now looking at this injury, I think let's say the team like the Pistons decides to go after him. I think that they're looking at this less about or less. I think it's less about his injury and his health and like being able to be available this year because they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but just securing a guy to move forward, to have that guy, on their roster and be a part of their team going forward. And I think that maybe they're looking at this like, okay, maybe we don't have to get rid of as many pieces to try and get a guy like this because he's injured. And I think that might even be he might be a more attractive trade piece to whoever might receive him in a trade than he would be if he was healthy, because I think that the Bulls would be asking for more if he was healthy. And yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a chance that this injury makes his trade value more attractive to some teams, depending on which teams want to get him.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that's a pretty accurate take. And if teams can capitalize on his lessened value because of the season ending injury, then like why not? You know,
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
just
sense.
what you'd be willing to give up. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're running a little over time for this segment, so I think we should probably move on to the recaps. The Clippers played, I believe, 3 games since we talked last. The first of which was unfortunately a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have won 13 of their last 14, I believe. They're probably the hottest team in the East at the moment. Donovan Mitchell is a very underrated scorer. He can give you 40 a night at times, and we saw it with the Jazz. Obviously, it wasn't enough to get it done over there, but he's still the same guy. Darius Garland was out with some jaw fracture or something like that, but he is back. They're starting to get their guys back. Evan Mobley. They have pieces to compete. I think Darius Garland is a phenomenal basketball player, and Evan Mobley's, he can
He's
guard
so
1 through 5. He's got a good offensive game, but I think his talent is the fact that he's so mobile on defense at his size. They have a good team, a good solid team around Donovan Mitchell, and he's been kind of shouldering a lot of the load while they've been out. But yeah, unfortunately, the Clippers take the loss 108-118 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. A rough game, as were the last couple games, unfortunately, from Paul George. Only 13 points, 0 for 5 from 3, 3 for 11 from the floor. PG's been great on defense for the most part in this little stretch, but he's been struggling a little bit on offense. So is James Harden. James Harden did have have 10 assists, but only 11 points. Kawhi was exceptional, as he has been, 13 for 25 from the floor, 30 points. But yeah, this one just wasn't enough to get it done. We got great minutes from our bench. We got to see Amir Coffey and Norman Powell and Westbrook all scoring the double digits, but it just wasn't enough. And the Cavs were hitting just about everything they took, particularly from behind the arc. What did you see in this one, Rula, that stood out the most?
Well, I think it's just got to be Kawhi's point output to me. I think the team has been significantly better because he's been playing at a higher level than he had been at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we lost this game, but I think this is one of those games where I think that the Cavaliers were a little bit more motivated than we are. They're a good team. They're a young team. And I think that at the end of the day, in this regular season game, I think they wanted it more than we did. But what stood out to me, like I said, was just Kawhi balling his ass off, and he has been balling his ass off recently. And kind of taking it back to what I mentioned, like maybe our third ever podcast of Kawhi can turn it on whenever he wants, and that was why I was so angry about him when the season started, because he can really do this whenever. He can drop 30 points to him is like your everyday Wednesday or Monday.
Monday,
so
as it were.
It's just nice to see him drop 30. I think this entire week he had 30 plus in every game.
Yeah, he's been incredible.
But yeah, that's pretty much the only thing that stood out to me. Amir Coffey with 13 points. That dude has been balling.
Amir's been great. Amir's been great, and I tweeted it out a couple days ago. But the Clippers front office takes a lot of flack, rightfully so, for making some questionable draft choices. Daniel Oturu, Jerome Robinson, Sindarius Thornwell. There's guys that they've missed on. A Diamond Stone, Bryce Johnson. The list goes on and on. But I think that with Amir Coffey and Amir Coffey and Terrence Mann, I think that shouldn't be glossed over. I think that the Clippers really hit on two guys that are solid, if not exceptional, NBA players at what they do. Amir Coffey, I think, was undrafted. It looked like he was kind of going to be out of the league for a little while. He was on two-way contracts for, I think, the first 3 years of his career, and now he's become a vital part. I don't think it's crazy to say a vital part of this rotation. Playing 27 minutes. I liked what I saw from Kobe Brown early on in the season, but he's just not quite there yet. And Amir Coffey ended up kind of replacing him in the rotation. And Rolla, you touched on it a couple weeks ago, but there's never really a game where you say, "Oh, we lost that game because Amir Coffey made too many mistakes," right. Or he's just he gives you what you need. And, he's not one to turn the ball over a lot. He does exactly what's asked of him. And, some weeks he'll play a combined 5 minutes. And then when he's called upon, he's always, he always steps up to the plate. So, yeah, I've loved what I've seen from Amir. But, yeah, unfortunately, like we said, not enough to get it done. All of the starting 5 of the Cleveland Cavaliers scored in double digits. They got some big shots off the bench from Karis LeVert and George Niang. It was just, everything was falling for them. And, It's hard to beat a team that's coasting like that, especially, we're in the middle of the Grammy Trip. You start to get tired legs. And I think we just kind of saw that against the Cavs. Connor, did you see anything that you wanted to talk about from this one, or do you want to just move on to the Wizards?
We can move on, but I do agree with you guys' points. I mean, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, just great guys. Norman Powell, I think they're huge on our bench that just come in with so much energy and just drive that I think we've talked about Terrence Mann and his overthinking sometimes on the court, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so nice to have more depth on our team and like players that can actually help facilitate our main guys. And we've been lacking that in other years. So it's okay if we lose, a game here and there. Cleveland's a very solid team in my opinion, and we've been handling this road trip, this like super long road trip, like really well, in my opinion.
Totally. I think we lost Rolla. I think
Yeah,
he
we
might
did.
Oh
have
no, I'm
cut
here.
out or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back
Oh.
once we try and figure out where the hell Rolla went. So
Yeah,
the Rolla
we'll be
hunt
back.
begins. We will be right back.
All right, Clipper Nation, we are back.
You're kidding.
Sorry for that little delay. We got Rolla back in here, and let's get back into it. So the next game in the series that we wanted to go over was the Clippers and Washington Wizards game, 125 to 109. Some big points that I saw just looking at the box score and takeaways from the game. The Wizards didn't have Jordan Poole today. I don't know, or that game. I don't know if that would have made a huge difference in the game. That comment
Yeah,
is
I don't know.
it wouldn't have-
take it as you will.
It would not have made a difference.
Yeah, but he had a good game recently. But Kawhi and Harden point total is huge. I think taking a look at it, Kawhi with 31 points, James Harden with 25, just big contributors, to the overall score. 27 points from Kuz. He's a good player on the Washington Wizards and has been pretty consistent the whole year. But what were your guys' takeaways?
Yeah, obviously you touched on it. Kawhi Leonard with 31. Dude has been an aimbot, as Brian Singer would say. This was a good bounce back game from James Harden. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Got 2 steals and 4 blocks, which is incredible to see from James Harden. Amir Coffey with 17. He got the starting nod. I think Paul George ended up tweaking something in his groin, so he sat out of this one. But yeah, 17 from Amir. This was a game where BBJ got some playing time, which was awesome. I'm a big Brandon Boston fan. 12 points from Brandon Boston. He looked better than I've seen him in a long time. I think the big knock on BBJ is just sometimes he tends to force things, but he looked deliberate. He had a couple really nice moves to the hoop, creative finishes at the rim. Love seeing him get playing time, 12 off the bench, and then 14 from our co-6 man, Norman Powell, with 14 points plus 14, gave us 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Just a really good game to put away a team that, we have no business losing against. Kuz was kind of scaring me to start the game. He was kind of having one of his games where he just can't miss. Unfiltered confidence from Kuz, which you tend to see, more times than not. Bilal Koulibaly, who's kind of more of a defensive stopper for them. He ended up chipping in with 19 points. There was 16 from Corey Kispert, who's been playing well. He's starting to look like the prospect out of Gonzaga that he was coming into the league, where he can hit really tough shots, great shooter. He's been looking good lately, but aside from that, really, not a whole lot from the Wizards. The Clippers handled business. Rolla, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, these, like I said, I think I mentioned this last week, but these teams are nowhere near our level. We shouldn't have any issues playing against them. That this is exactly what the score is, exactly what I was expecting. Maybe even more of a blowout. But these, like I said, this team it's not a team we should be even tripping about, especially how well we've been playing recently. But Kyle Kuzma is a baller. He's pretty much, especially with Jordan Poole out, he's pretty much the only player on that team that can, I don't want to say do anything, but
he offers more than scoring. I will agree. Like, he's a great rebounder. Jordan Poole is kind of just seen as a bucket getter. Kuzma can offer you a little bit more in terms of winning basketball. So
yeah, but I mean, when you compare that team to our, even just our starting lineup, They have this is a game that you would expect us to win, and we did.
Yeah. And it's important. I'll say it time and time again. After taking a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially towards the tail end of a road trip, it's easy for a lot of teams to kind of get down on themselves and start to go on a losing streak or whatever. But the
Mhm.
Clippers have, in the best way possible, bounced back from these losses. And you saw it against a loss against the Lakers earlier, and you take this tough loss, and it's from that point, it's like, okay, we got to show everybody what we're made of. How do we try and get over these obstacles and make sure that it doesn't get us into a funk? And we've done such a great job of that. And I think that kind of thing is important going into the playoffs. It shows that we're tested. If we take a loss or we take a team's best punch and we don't escape with a win, what do we do to try and fix that and remedy that and show that that's not indicative of the team who we are? That loss doesn't show who we are and how good of a team we are, and we've done a great job at that. I've been so impressed with so many things from this team ever since the 6-game losing streak early on, and this was no different. We bounced back and we handled business against a team that we needed to beat, and we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on that note, let's go on to the next game that we won. Clippers versus the Pistons, 136-125. What were some takeaways that you guys had? I didn't get a chance to watch this one, but what did you guys see?
Yeah, this one was fun because I've been a big advocate of the Pistons, not only because one of our homies, Ryan, is a diehard Pistons fan, and
Shouts out.
I was feeling for him and feeling for the Pistons, but I think that they've always been better. It was almost mind blowing how bad that they were playing because they have the talent and they have guys that want to compete, and so I don't expect them to do. I wasn't going into the season expecting them to be a playoff team or anything like that, but you expect them to get more than 6 wins at this point in the season. And they've been playing a lot better lately. They've competed, and they came out and gave us their best punch. We were really bad offensively and defensively to start the game. Boyan used to do it against us when he was with the Jazz, but he was hitting big shots. Jaden Ivey was all over the place. That dude is he's so hard to contain. He's still got to figure out his control and poise, but he's a ball of energy, and he was great. Cade Cunningham, he's back from his injury, and he only had 16 points, but he was able to chip in with 11 assists. They really gave us a run for our money. Marcus Sasser coming off the bench, giving them 21. He's probably their best 3-point shooter, and it showed. He was 5 for 6 from 3. It was kind of a back and forth game, and which is crazy to say against the Pistons, but they believed that they can win this one. And fortunately, we have Kawhi Leonard playing elite basketball, and it showed again. 12 for 17 from the field, which is just unreal efficiency. 6 threes, which is incredible. Finished with 33 points, and Russ off the bench. I don't think we win this game without Russ. He came out when things were starting to fall a little flat, and he just gave us some incredible energy. 10 for 13 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, 23 points, and most importantly, he reached the 25,000 mark this game. Both him and James Harden did that this season with us, reached their 25,000 points for their career mark, and that's never been done on one team in one season. So, congrats to Russ. He's been so big for us this season, and just giving us that spark. And 25,000, it just shows what a fantastic career he's had, and really glad to have him on our team. Rolla, what did you think? I see you smirking over there talking as I'm talking about Russ.
I was just going to chime in and just say 6th man of the year candidate for sure, and I think
it's possible. It's possible.
Definitely
I think
not 6th man of the year, but
okay. Why?
Oh,
well, I mean, I think that I think he's not even the best 6th man on the Clippers. But I will say that he played a fantastic game. Like you said, he was very motivated with the 25,000 points achievement that he wanted to get in this game. But otherwise, this is a Pistons team. I know you think very highly of them. I personally don't. I think they're not a good team, and I think
Okay,
their
yeah, they're
record.
not, but they're
Their
obviously better than 6-42. I
Yeah,
think
but look at other teams. Look at the Wizards. I mean, what are they? 8? They have like 8 wins or 7 wins. I mean,
the
they're
Wizards
I
don't
think
want to win. The Pistons
yeah,
want
but
to
I
win. They
think
just don't.
the talent level is similar. Personally, um, that being said, this game was a fantastic game. Kawhi was just automatic at one point. I think he went 10 for 10. I think he was 10 for 10 at one point,
Mhm.
where he just hit every single shot. He is unguardable, especially for a team like this. He's gonna eat. They can't guard someone at the level of Kawhi Leonard. He's a superstar. He's a top 5, 6 player in the
I
league.
I think he said that during the game. Was that this game where they showed a camera angle of Kawhi after hitting a tough shot? And he
Oh
just said,
yeah, yeah,
"They
yeah.
can't guard me."
That was this game.
That was
Literally
it.
can't guard
Yeah.
him. It's like him. It's like he's playing against children. Like they can't guard him. They're not like. It is what it is. Unfortunately, Kawhi is going to get
It
whatever
is
he
what it
wants.
is.
But overall, a fantastic game. It was very hype. I feel like there was a lot of good energy being thrown around the Clippers bench. Everyone was very happy for Westbrook after he got 25,000, and he got subbed out immediately after. But the game was already over, so he got the game ball at the end of the game. But yeah, overall great game. Game we were supposed to win, and we did.
Real quick, sorry, Connor, if I was cutting you off, but real quick, you mentioned the emotion and the energy off the bench. I just want to give a shout out. This is going to be like a quick little 2-part, but I want to give a shout out to Bones Highland. There was a couple videos of when Russ got his 25,000th point. Bones Highland was the first off the bench. He was coming over and giving him some love, and that's been something that we've seen from Bones Highland this season. That I'll hammer it in till the end of time. I'm so appreciative of the energy that Bones Highland's given off the bench this season, despite not getting any playing time. It sucks because he looked great in preseason. The first couple games of the season, he looked like he was going to be a big part of our rotation. And then, James Harden comes in, and understandably he's not getting any minutes. And one thing I wanted to piggyback off that with is, I know that the Clippers have talked about, and these are just rumors, but PJ Tucker is obviously, for obvious reasons, a part of the Clippers potential trade packages. But I've also heard that Bones Highland is kind of on the trade block a little bit. And I kind of understand, just because he does have value. He's a young player that can score. He can assist. He's good. He's very, very good. Obviously, he's shown he's a high character guy. And for the right trade, if we do decide to make one more swing before the deadline, he might be a part of that. And I would love to see Bones remain a Clipper, just because not only he's been so great just from a chemistry standpoint, but he would be a big part of our future moving forward if we can retain him. But yeah, if anything happens with Bones, if he's traded by the time we get to our next show, I just want to say shouts out to Bones, man. Like, he's been a joy to have as a Clipper, in a Clipper uniform, and would love to have him be the part of the Clippers for a long time. But if anything happens, we're all pulling for Bones. And we're in his corner every step of the way. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, shouts out to Bones, and yeah, we'll have more to talk about next week. But as we're getting closer to the end of the episode, just wanted to go lead us into the previews going into next week. Today we have a game versus the Heat at 3:00. I think that'll be a very competitive game. Could be close.
Totally.
Monday, we're facing the Hawks at 4:30. Wednesday versus Pelicans in LA. So we're done with the road trip, going into our game on Wednesday. And on Sunday, we're facing the Pistons again in LA at 12:30. Personally, just looking at the teams we're facing, I know we're going to beat the Hawks. I don't have any doubt in my mind.
Love it.
Really?
But we're going to beat the Pistons.
I love it from Connor Bell, dude.
I think we're going to go 3-1. I think the Pelicans is always a team that we sometimes struggle against, just because they have a lot.
So you think we're winning today?
Oh, we're winning today.
Okay.
I believe it. But
Interesting.
I also think that we could lose because we are playing off a back-to-back, right? Or is that the back-to-back is today and then Monday?
No, yeah, we had yesterday off. So, I mean, like we said earlier, and like you were saying, we're getting towards the end of the road trip, so there could be some tired legs. Players just want to kind of get home. Sorry, there was a noise. Someone just hit their desk, and it is the most Looney Tunes ass noise, and it threw me off a little bit. But that was some Tom and Jerry shit. Wow. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, like I said last week, I think that this Miami Heat game was one that I thought that we might have trouble with, might lose. But considering the fact that we lost against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think that we can, the emphasis to try and win this game will be a little bit higher. And Connor, to piggyback off of what you said, I think 3-1 is realistic. I think we can win tonight. The Pelicans are always going to be a team that gives us trouble. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that to kind of agree with you with the Atlanta Hawks game, their best player is a smaller dude that, we saw it whenever we would play Portland. They had CJ McCollum and they had Damian Lillard, and we always seemed to get the better of them because their best guys can't really hang, can't really hang defensively with our bigger wings. So I think that that's one thing that kind of we have going in our favor against the Atlanta Hawks, and it should help us secure a win.
Yeah, I think all of our games going forward are going to be kind of close. Personally, I think the Heat are a team that, they were in the finals 2 years ago. So I mean, they're a team that you always got to look out for.
Totally,
they play hard. They have that Miami Heat culture. So I think it's just going to be a close one, especially with not having a center that gives Bam Adebayo a chance to kind of eat a little bit. But I still think that this is a game that we should win. I think the Hawks, Trae Young, didn't he just? Was it the game? Was that last night or 2 nights ago? Did they play the Warriors?
They played last night. They played the
Warriors last night.
Yeah.
Steph Curry dropped 60 points, and they beat the Warriors. So I think the Atlanta Hawks are on a mission right now. Trae Young, I think, is on a mission after being snubbed from being an All-Star selection. So I don't think it's going to be as easy of a win against them as we might think. Like Connor was saying, the Hawks aren't on our level, but I think that currently, one thing with the regular season is any given day, I think that any team can beat any team if they're motivated enough.
It's very
true. The other team is not as motivated, so that's just one thing. I think I agree with you guys. I think we should go 3. Honestly, we should win out and go 4-0. But I think realistically, it'll be realistic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be 3-1 also.
Yeah, but
I would love to see. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think that's a good take. It's kind of more well-rounded considering Trae Young trying to pop off after the snub of the All-Star candidacy, and we are coming off a really long away trip, game series. I can't even talk right now, but I do agree that we would go 3-1. But Nick, what were you going to say?
I can't remember. How about that?
Let's move on to hot take, shot take, bro.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, guys. We're gonna get our drinks of choice ready, and we will be right back with hot take, shot take, with some hopefully scalding hot takes for you. So we will be right back.
All right, and we're back. We got our beverages for hot take, shot take. Who would like to go first?
What about you, Connor? You want to go first?
All right, I'll go first. I'll start it off.
Yeah, Connor, you haven't had a hot take in a minute, bruh.
I know. I've been a little bit absent. Had some time off, I guess you could say. But, my hot take for this week is just centered around the 65-game rule for MVP. Honestly, I'm kind of pissed about the players complaining about it. And I think there's only 2 solutions to it. With the load management rule, I think that's needed in order for the star players to continue playing. But But also in terms of like being voted for the most valuable player of the season, you have to play most of the games of the season. Like, I don't know how that's an issue. You know, like if I'm getting injured and then near the end of the year I play 25 games and I just ball my ass off, do you think I deserve MVP for the whole season? No. So
Absolutely
like,
not.
why are we gonna? You know, and I feel like players have issues with that. At least maybe not the fans talking about it. But I don't know. I feel
Wait,
like,
okay. Can you paraphrase that again? Because I'm confused about your question.
well, I was just saying, like, I don't know why players are complaining about meeting the quota of the 65 games in order to get like awards for the year. And I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
well, you should play most of the year in order to get an award for the whole year. And that's why there's also like awards that you would get if you're in the playoffs and things like that, or if you make it as far, because then you are focusing on the playoffs schedule and like that duration of time. So, you know, I'm just saying, I think candidates and people that want to earn those awards should try and aim to play the whole year. And if you can't, that's just unlucky for you that year. You know
Try
what I
again
mean?
next year.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
So your hot take. So your hot take is that
Players
players.
shouldn't be complaining.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Like, I think Embiid.
All right. Where's your shot? Where's your shot
Right here.
take?
It's right here. It's right here.
That's a beer.
Connor's a cheater, dude.
God dang,
You guys
dude.
both have shots?
Golly goodness.
You guys both have
Yes,
shots.
sir.
Shit. All right. Going to the next one. I'll go grab one.
Okay. Rolla, do you want to go or you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go. I have two. Hot
Actually,
takes.
no, Rolla. I'm gonna go.
All right. Go
How
on.
about that?
Go on. Go on.
How about that? My hot take, touched on a little earlier, pertains to the Lakers. Because we love talking about the Lakers on this show. My hot take is, and I've heard some chatter throughout the league, so this isn't baseless, but my hot take is one of LeBron James or Anthony Davis will be traded from the Los Angeles Lakers before the deadline. Don't know where, don't know what. Okay, actually, let's say that it's LeBron James. I think that if it's LeBron James that's traded, I think he goes to one or two places. I think he goes to Cleveland to pair up with Donovan Mitchell and to be back home. Or he goes to New York because it's such a big market. You know, it's the same market in terms of, you know, revenue and entertainment and stuff like that, that he wouldn't really be missing much as far as the difference between the Los Angeles market and the New York market. But as far as Anthony Davis goes, I don't know where he goes, but my hot take is that one of those two will no longer be a part of the Los Angeles Lakers once the deadline is over. I'm pouring up.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah, man. I personally, I think that's a horrible take.
Well,
What? No, LeBron.
cheers to that, Rolla.
No.
Let's hear what your
LeBron
fucking
can
take
go
is. How about
away.
that?
No, not in like a bad way. I just don't think that. Well, not sorry. I don't mean horrible take as in.
You don't
like,
mean horrible in a bad way. You mean horrible
No,
in
no,
a
no.
good way.
No, I mean like I don't think that. Sorry, I'll say it as this. I think that as a business, I just don't see how the Lakers would be dumb enough to get rid of those players. They make
true.
so much money for them, bro.
That's true.
The Lakers need to do
throwing
something.
away- like
The Lakers-
if at the end of the day, like those owners don't like. Okay, sure they care about winning and winning championships, but at the end of the day, all they care about like money is the bottom line. Why would they get rid of their two biggest like revenue sources?
Cash rules
You know what I
everything
mean?
around me, is what Roll is saying.
Well, for these
Cream to
owners,
get
it
the money.
does. I mean, not all of them are Steve Ballmer, bro.
Nick, did you take your shot?
Okay,
I took it.
Oh, you did.
I took it.
Okay, I'm
Connor, did you take your shot?
Also, real quick, Connor, before you get into yours, there is a. Oh wait, you're not going to give another take. You're just going to take your shot.
No, he already took it.
Okay, yeah, and he's chasing it with a beer. Okay, this is what we
Oh.
like here on the Clip Service Podcast. Real quick, guys, I just got a piping hot news drop that Ivica Zubac will be starting tonight or
Ooh.
today. So
Let's go.
it's unfortunate for me because I have Mason Plumlee on my fantasy team, and I'm in a really close matchup this week. So that's not great for me, but it's great for the Clippers and great for me outside of my fantasy future. So welcome back, Zoo. Hopefully he's on a minutes restriction, not only for his own health, but for my fantasy team.
I agree. All right, can I fucking say my
No.
takes,
I'm going to
you're
think of
not
every
allowed.
excuse in the book for you to not say yours because I know it's going to be trash.
Nah, bro, I got some heat. I got 2 heaters.
It's always heat. There's no
got 2
question about
heaters.
that. 2 of
My
them.
number-
So you're taking 2
yeah.
shots.
I'm taking 2 shots.
Oh
One
my
for last
goodness
week.
gracious.
Wow.
One for last week and one for this week.
Yeah,
Let's go,
Well,
dude.
you've been a little lax on the shots. I got a lot.
What the hell?
Yeah, let's go,
Well,
Connor.
Nah,
There was a
bro.
couple of hot takes in the
Connor's
beginning
standing
of
on
our
business.
podcast history where you were just making hot takes, not taking any shots.
Yeah, you took a
I
shot of
wasn't-
soy sauce, Rolla. Earlier in our podcast history, you took a shot of soy sauce, leaving
Because
me
I
out on
didn't
an
have any
island. I'm
tequila,
getting hammered
bro.
on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, what's up with that?
All right,
bro?
I'm taking 2. That's all that
All right.
matters, bro. The
All
present.
Okay.
right, go for it.
Let's see it.
All right, so my first hot take, I think Tyrese Maxey becomes a top 5 player in the league in Joel Embiid's absence. And because of this,
Wait.
next year-
This year or next year?
I'm saying this year.
For the
And
remainder
because
of
of
the year.
this,
Mhm.
yeah, and I said in Embiid's absence.
Okay.
And I say because of this, next year, they move on from Embiid and give Tyrese Maxey the keys to the team and the city.
No, apparently fucking Marcus Morris has the keys to the city. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
He got it. Marcus Morris literally got the keys to some city in Philly.
Yeah.
He's a Philly kid.
Oh,
Just some kid from Philly with a dream and a twin.
props to him.
All right.
Okay, so hold on, real quick on that note. Does Markeith get a key as well, or is it just a Mook thing?
It's just Marcus.
Okay, I wonder if there's going to be some problems in Paradise with the twins.
Sibling rivalry.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, bro.
It's a huge deal.
I mean,
Take
I
your
like-
shot.
All right,
Rolla.
let me take my shot, dude. Cheers.
Wait, what's your second one? All right, we're gonna let Roller recover from that shot. He's
Not
not
gonna
looking
lie.
too good.
Yeah, in the video, it kind of looks like he's chasing with milk.
No, dude.
Roller's chasing
What?
with milk, guys.
No, I
It's
just
a white
looked at
cup.
the cup and it was just like the white, and I was like, oh, it looked like milk for a second.
All right. So my second hot take.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna give Roller a second. Oh,
Dude, that was terrible. My second hot take is I believe and think that the great Trae Young should have been picked as an all-star over Jalen Brunson. Don't shoot
if
the
you-
messenger,
for
baby.
for
shoot
those
the
of you that are
messenger.
listening to this and not watching this on YouTube, Rolla slowly slid back in his swivel chair for dramatic effect.
Don't shoot the messenger, baby. I think so. Trae Young averaged 20, or at least up to this point in the season, he's averaged 27.3 points a game, 3 rebounds, and 11
He's
assists.
got the numbers.
And
Okay.
Jalen Brunson has averaged 27.3 points a game, 6.5 assists per game, and 4 rebounds per game.
Wait, okay, you're gonna have to say both of those next to each other again.
Okay,
because
I'm going to
can't-
say both of them next to each other. Trae Young has averaged 27.3 points a game. Jalen Brunson has averaged 27.3 points a game.
Mhm.
Trae Young has averaged 10.9 assists per game, second in the league. Jalen Brunson has averaged 6.5 assists a game.
Okay.
Trae Young has averaged 2.8 rebounds, and Jalen Brunson has averaged 3.9.
Okay. That's it.
Higher.
That's it.
Okay, but let me tell you this: the Knicks are the 4th seed in the East, and the Hawks are the 10th.
Yeah, I think that's.
Does
just
that not
between-
matter? Does that not matter to you?
No.
Rolla?
What about Paolo Banchero?
Well, he plays
What about all the rest of this team, dude?
Well,
What about-
Banchero plays
what
a
about-
completely different- What?
No,
it's
no,
tough.
I'm
It's
just
tough
saying-
because Paolo. I think no. I you're onto something, Rolla. But I think that the fact that Paolo this is his first year in the league, right?
Can I say something?
Mhm.
This is his second year in the league.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. But because he's so new to the game and he's had such a such a dominant year, I think that helps his cause a little bit.
Okay. I was just saying that because you were mentioning that the team is in a bad place. But I will say, why the hell is Jaylen Brown an All-Star? Can you
Jaylen
please
Brown?
explain me? Jaylen Brown. Why the hell is he an All-Star?
Because I think that goes along with, the Celtics are the number one team in the East, and with the Celtics always going to be the two-headed monster, right? It's going to be Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They're both equally responsible for the Celtics' success. They play the same. It's like in theory, you could say the same thing about Kawhi and PG, right? Like,
No, but I think Kawhi and PG is a different. They're like two heads. They're like 1A and 1B. I think Jaylen Brown,
two heads of equal size.
Exactly.
You're saying that the Celtics, Tatum's got a bigger head, and then Jaylen Brown's like the head that's kind of wilting.
I think Jason
misshapen.
Tatum has a big head, and I think Jaylen Brown's head is average size.
Average size head. Okay.
Yeah. But no, Jaylen Brown, he's not an All-Star to me. I think there are so many other players that should have gotten it over him. Yeah, sure, the Celtics are number one in the East.
He's one of the weak links. I will agree with you there.
He's not that good. Also, how does the All-Star voting work? Is it do the fans still vote, or is it's like fans?
No, I don't think so anymore. I think it's like because the fan vote is different than the I think the fan vote like carries less weight, I think, than they do a final vote with all of the league participants or whatever, front office, coaching staff, and players, I think.
And media.
Well, yeah.
Is media, is that not part of the fan vote?
Oh, is it? Because I think, well, I actually have no idea. I don't know how
Clip Service fans, Clip Service viewers, please let us know. If you know, let us know in the comments below, because we are pretty clearly very clueless on how this process works. I will agree that Trae Young probably should have made the team. It's just I don't know who he would have replaced. I really don't. It's also subjective. I think All-Star Weekend's kind of trash. Anyway,
what?
Yeah, I think that they need to completely
that's
restructure.
A hot take, bro.
It's not a hot take. It's been trash for years, dude. It's been trash for years. I watched Jericho Sims conduct one of the most awkward dunks in a dunk contest I've ever seen, where the building was quiet. He pulls out a little note that says 50. It's torn down the middle. They need to do something. I think that the All-Star here's my. I'm going to give one more take, and then we're going to sail off into the sunset.
All right, let's hear it.
All-Star Weekend needs to include a 1v1 tournament where players play 1v1 to 21. That would solve so many discussions.
No,
would love to see it.
People
Number two, I think that the All-Star game needs to be, and I've heard, and this is not my idea. I've heard this throughout. I think the first person I heard this from was Clipper Spencer on Twitter. Shouts out Clipper Spencer. But I think that the West, if they continue this West versus East format, I think that the winning team between the West and the East gets home court advantage in the finals.
What the hell?
Wait, say that one more time.
What problem do you have with that? I think that between in the All-Star game, if they stick with the West, if they stick okay, if they stick East and West format, I think that the winning team should get home court advantage in the finals.
That's not fair, though.
Why is that not fair?
Because what if a team that doesn't have any All-Stars gets to the finals, or has one less All-Star?
Then they can thank. Then they can thank their conference. It would.
Why the hell would I put whether I have home court or away advantage to some other players that have no they don't care about what
all I'm saying is down the hatch. I'm taking another shot for this.
Yeah.
Make it happen, All-Star. Make it happen, Adam Silver.
I like the format that they did that one. What was it 2021 or 2020, where it was like super hype and they played to a certain number, and
that was cool. That was cool because Kawhi won the Finals MVP or the All-Star MVP. But I think there just needs to be more of an incentive to win.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good job. I think that would do a good job of that. That's my hot take. Do you guys have anything else before we go into this fine Sunday and hopefully see the Clippers take on the Miami Heat and come out with a win?
I do have something to
Nope,
say.
I'm
Anything?
good.
Producer Shay
Let's hear it.
in Clutch with some info. It says the NBA All-Star Game
Let's hear it.
starters are selected by fans, NBA players, and the media. So fan votes make up 50% of the vote. All current
50%.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy because I remember they do that online. And then all current players and select group of media representatives will count for 25% each. So I think the players
Interesting.
can have
So
some
it's a
fun
fan
votes.
voting.
Yeah, but it's primarily fan voting because it's all the big stars. They just want the most
Fan
media.
voting is so trash. They're
Trash.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to clear
Okay.
that
Well,
up.
thank you to our producer Shay for providing that tidbit of information. Yeah, guys. Let's get out of here. Let's make sure that we all tune in for the Miami Heat game, the Clippers Miami Heat game. This will be a big one. Like I said, towards the end of the Grammy trip, which we've done a great job at handling business during this trip. I think this might be the best record that we've ever had as a team during the Grammy road trip. I mean, 7 games in 11 days is no joke, and I think the only loss we've taken is the one against the Cavs. So, great record. Hopefully, we continue it. Like Connor said earlier in the show, the first game back from the trip is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans at home, which is nothing to scoff at. But if we can handle business during this trip, I think we'd feel a little bit more comfortable going into that game. So, yeah, here's to the Clippers continuing their streaks. We've done a great job. This team's done a great job of, like we always say, bouncing back from losses, creating a new streak. So hopefully that continues here during the tail end of the trip and forward. I think to piggyback off of what I said, I think last week or the week before, keep an eye on February, guys, because I think the Clippers will be the 2nd seed in the West, and it's looking like that might happen. We're only 1 game back of the 1 seed. I think it's the Timberwolves and the Thunder are tied. So here's to that, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can find us as always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Deezer. You can find us on YouTube, obviously. Get at us on Twitter, X, at Clip Service Pod, and Rolla took the liberty of creating an Instagram for us. So we are now on Instagram at Clip Service Podcast, I think. So get at us wherever you can. Let us know what you think of the podcast. We so appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, go Clips.
Go Clips.
Go Clips.